So it started with Daniel being a captive of Judah, most likely as a teenager. You know, like when he first basically started to live his life, then he got captured by King Nebuchadnezzar. And I find it ironic that Nebuchadnezzar, he was told about the dream, right? About being chopped down, being that tree. And he was listening to Daniel. I mean, he heard what he was saying. It's like he hears him and he trusts him, but he just was like, nah, you know, whatever. And then 12 months later, that's when his understanding returned to him. 12 months later. Although he was told 12 months beforehand, you know, like 365 days, you know, like a year. Like from the 7th to the 8th, he was told. Sort of like on May 21st of 2018, which was that 7th full year. And then 12 months later, it's coming up pretty soon. And this is the part where I'm telling you, and O King, right? And you heard it. You know I'm telling the truth, but you just, yeah, whatever. Who knows anything? Even though you, Steve, you're the main person. You're the only person that truly knows who I am, and you truly believe every word that I say is true, because there's plenty of times where you have asked me in a sarcastic way, but you asked me, tell me what this means, genius. So therefore, my lord, you're asking me a question, and when you ask me a question, you are, even though you're asking it in a sarcastic way, you're asking to hear the truth. And so if you don't want to hear the truth, if you choose to hear a lie, well then I beg of you, my lord, ask me nothing. Maybe it's better that I don't speak, because you're going to hear the truth, whether it's good or true about you. And that's why Daniel, throughout his reign, or tenure, or his life, throughout that time period, he came across, you know, Nebuchadnezzar. He interpreted his dreams for him. Belshazzar. Well, at first he explained to King Nebuchadnezzar that his message was a little bit better than Belshazzar, because Belshazzar was, well, he was slain that very night. But again, none of us were there. I mean, Daniel was there, his spirit was there, and I still feel like he was slain because Daniel was there to interpret the writing on the wall, because the writing, I mean, it's like literally the writing is on the wall. And he was able to interpret it for him, and he was slain that very night. So my interpretation of being slain is by the word of God. And it's like, oh, that's what it means? Oh, okay, well, I better stop then, huh? I better put those cups away. What do you think, Daniel? You think I should just put them back in the cupboard where they belong? But if he really got slain, killed that night, then that happened too. But if you notice, Daniel wasn't afraid to tell him the truth, because he made sure first that if he didn't want to hear what he had to say, then don't ask him. So he got the king to say, no, yeah, speak, please, tell me, good or true, which is funny because it's good means like basically a lie, and he knows Daniel's not going to lie to him. And the truth is the interpretation of the writing is on the wall. Your days are numbered, Steve. But however, the good news is, because all these kings are intertwined with one, and it represents you and Trump, mainly you, but Trump is still the face. Because it represents all of them, there's a piece from each king that you can learn from. King Nebuchadnezzar, well, 7 times is going to pass over you. And I know people want to say it's 7 years, but I look at times. I look at it as the times and a half. It's purpose to say it that way because because you'll think of 3.5 years, or you'll think of 42 months, or you'll think of 3.5 days. And when it comes to times, that's why God puts it there, because it's a medium. It's a mixture of all. It can be either one or the other. But anyway, if it's 7 times, okay, 7 years passes by from May 21st, 2011. 7 full years passes by until everybody knows, and not just one person. It's representing, King Nebuchadnezzar is representing everyone that they heard the warning. They just didn't adhere to it. They heard it, but they didn't adhere to it. But I'm not going with 7 years passing over for Nebuchadnezzar, because it's 7 days, and the reason why is because after 12 months, his understanding returned to him. After 12 months. And last year, May 21st, was the 7th full, or not, it was the 7th year going into the 8th. So at the end of this May 21st, it'll be 7 full years into the 8th year. 12 months, 365 days. Walking with God, 365 days. So that's the good news. Your kingdom will be assured to you. Not the way the rulership's going now. Not with the mindset you have now. It's not going to happen. It just ain't. But the good news is that you will be slain that night. And then 7 times will pass over you. Once that olive leaf is plucked off, there's a little bit of faith. It's the transition period of regeneration. Everything's getting regenerated. Till 7 times. That's why Noah stayed yet other 7 days. And the first 7 days, when he popped his head open, when the rapture happened, you know, the fake thing, the disappearing of millions of people, or however you guys are going to play that out, we're going to know that a rapture has happened and everybody's left behind. So that's why there's a 14-day period. Everything's extended. But you'll have your reign, because 365 days from the time that you were warned by me. Before that, you were warned by Harold Camping for the last 7 years. I'm just gonna warn you for the last time, like like the way a lion goes out. The lamb came in, the lion goes out. Harold Camping warned you kindly, and it's time to be warned and just told flat out the way Daniel told Belshazzar, because it's true. But I'm telling you, from my understanding, God's not going to kill you. You're going to die. He's just not going to kill you. You're going to be slain. But you're not going to be lying dead in a casket. You're going to be destroyed, just like the stone cut out without hand, and fire and brimstone coming out of the mouth of God, the Word of God. That Word destroyed King Nebuchadnezzar. It destroyed him. Didn't kill him. It destroyed him. He died, but he still lived. He didn't lose his breath. He just died in Christ. And then you have King Darius, you know, the shepherd that Trump is, he's constantly talking about you, Steve. He just won't show your actual face. That's why it's my job. It's my job to just show what Trump is saying, who he's really talking about. And it's my job also to show what Steve is talking about. And who you guys really are. You know, in the Bible. Who you guys are playing out and who you guys really are. Steve, I mean, obviously you're playing out Jesus Christ. And, I mean, anybody with a brain, a half of a brain, a quarter of a brain, anybody with a quarter of the knowledge of the Bible would know right off the bat that, no, this isn't the way Jesus, sorry, this is the Antichrist Jesus. It's not the real one. So anybody can pretty much figure that one out, especially if you've been watching my videos. Even if you're assigned to watch me, I mean, even you guys can figure that one out. But, you know, you have a job to do. I understand. You play that role. You take that job until, well, until we take flight. Once we take flight, the job of being assigned to us. See, you guys are going to think that you got rest, because once we're cut off, well, yeah, it's going to be easier for you, because you don't have to keep trying to, you don't have to record every one of our videos. You don't have to sit there and watch everyone or listen to it and have all these people listening, or try to fast forward a little bit to hear, but they still need to listen, but I interrupt their day. Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier for you, but man, I'm telling you what's going to happen. And how are you going to feel comfortable when it does happen? Knowing what you guys know. It's the whole purpose. That's what, it's not the first damn time in the history of existence that God has allowed some of his people to understand what he's going to do before he does it. It's what God does. Constantly. People shouldn't have horns, because there's really, a horn means, I'm impatient, man! I'm annoying it! Move! So King Darius, right? Remember, Daniel understood the number of books, the number of years by the books, which was 70 years. And he understood this in the first year of the reign of old King Darius. And in the third year of the reign of Cyrus, he had understanding of the vision, and the time appointed was long. You know, like 150 days. 150 miles of wall. When the waters are going to be abated. From the beginning of the government shutdown, December 22nd, 21st, midnight, 22nd, to May 21st, which is the second month, the 17th day of the month. The elite, they know this. That's why they started the government shutdown specifically on that date, so it can be 150 days till the waters are abated, and they know it. The waters are going to be abated completely, because I thought before, when YouTube shut down, the waters are abated and 3.5 days after that. No, it's the waters being abated is the truth being able to be spread anywhere. When America is completely annihilated on the television set, and there's no more power, and the sun goes down, what am I going to do? Who am I going to call? How am I going to get my word out there to anybody? I can't, right? I can only speak to my neighbors or anybody who's around me. That's it. But it can't go worldwide anymore. That's why God gives certain individuals visions and dreams, so they can see what's going to happen before it does. That way I can tell you before everything's shut down that it's going to get shut down, when it's going to get shut down, and when God's going to raise it back up. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't feel like I am. I feel like it's getting easier to understand, because we're getting closer and closer. And it's like going into a more of a narrower tunnel that just, there's only enough space for just you, and you can like filter out the other things that don't make sense, and the things that didn't make sense before, they're now starting to come very clear. Like, it's getting closer and closer, and the closer you get, the clearer it becomes. So Darius, his first year of the reign is when Daniel knew that it was 70 years. And that's pretty similar to now. 70 years are determined. Daniel was talking about Jeremiah the prophet saying 70 years are determined. And I'm talking about Daniel the prophet about 70 years being determined. So there's always somebody talking about somebody else that was talking about what God said that he was going to do. And then Cyrus, which is representing Trump, the third year, because this is his third year. In his third year, right? Notice how everything from the beginning to the end is coming in. In his third year, he had a message for King Cyrus, and that was to rebuild Jerusalem, Israelite, the house of Israel, the land of Israel, the land of Judah, the house of Judah. It's rebuilding the kingdom. And I don't know, I mean, all the kings, they seem pretty cool for the most part. They all trusted Daniel and his word. They didn't mind listening to what he had to say, whether they liked it or not. And and I like that. I like that about Daniel. So Cyrus is meant to be the one in charge as this transition happens in his third year of reign, and in the first year of the reign of Darius. Daniel prospered throughout, like he did from the beginning. That's why God troubles kings' dreams. Now, no, it's not the same exact as it was then, because you can't just tell me what your dream is. I can't just think off the top of my head like, okay, well, here's what it means. And I can't just tell you what your dream is if you don't tell me what your dream is immediately. As if you're dreaming with your head on the pillow type dream. I can't tell you what your dream is that way. But I damn sure can tell you what your dreams and aspirations are to rule the world, and how you guys are going to do it, and what you're going to use, you know, to do it. All angles, every which direction that you guys are up to with this sky and fakery. And it's all fake news. I knew that a long time ago. Bowie Merlin's fake news channel. And and now it's Robin's Hood, because Robin's Hood is, well, he's a thief, you know. He's a thief, good thief though. He was a thief, you know. He in third person. Robin was a thief before. Now he's a thief of stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. But everything is, you know, you can't just, it's not like it's not like I was like, all right, let's see, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get on YouTube, right? I'm gonna play out the role of Daniel. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play his role out. Somehow I'm gonna actually know what the world is doing, the elite, and throughout this time period, I'm gonna figure out who the Antichrist really is, even though I didn't even believe that there was going to be one specific person, but now I do. So, but I'm going to get on YouTube and I'm going to figure out who the Antichrist is, and I'm going to know who King Cyrus is and Darius in the 3rd year and the 1st year, and I'm going to understand that Belshazzar is going to be slain in one night on the 24th of May, and I'm also going to understand that King Nebuchadnezzar is going to, after 12 months of being warned the first time about May 21st, 2018, that a year later, his 12 months, his understanding returned to him, and then he was driven to live with the wild oxes and asses and eat grass like for 7 times passing over him for those 7 days. Until the first day of the month, when the earth was dried on June 1st of 2019. What else is there? I mean, there's a 5-month period, right? Can it go into October 21st? No, it can't. I don't think it can. But I didn't think it'd get this far last year either. It's just as you get to the point and everything starts lining up perfectly again, it's like, man, how much further can we possibly go? This year is the change of everything. It is. This isn't going to wait until next year. That's why they did all this last year. The reason why they're going to do it this year, well, because it's because World War I started. Hold on. It started 1914. It ended 1919. Okay, so World War I began on my birthday, and it ended on my birthday. The beginning and the ending of World War I started June 28th, 1914. I mean, obviously I wasn't born yet, but the day, and I just learned this yesterday, and it lasted for 5 years, and it started on June 20th because that's when the propaganda of the assassination of the married couple began, and then 5 years later exactly, it officially ended. Even though it started to end on 11/11 on 11th hour, it still officially ended June 28th of 1919. And from that point on, we're going into the 100th year, exactly. The 100th exact year. And Darius, the shepherd, average is 25 yards, okay? 25. Just divide that by 4, and you get 25 years. And it's Hitler's 25-point system, and 555. And then you got 666, and count the number of man. I, Robin Henry Tees, have discovered Stephen James DeShawn as the Antichrist. Stephen James DeShawn, the author of confusion, same author of Gematria, 666. There's a lot of things that I discovered about Gematria. Steve, you said it's the truth. I mean, right? You said it's the truth. I can see how a lot of things can be true in the book, but I also see how things can be lukewarm. And how do you not take the warmth with the cold and the cold with the warmth? How do you just let some things slide and others you don't? So man, we're in this time period where too many things are lining up very, very, very perfectly. All the 70, because here's the thing, when May 14th comes around, you know, because I look at my television set and I see it, because I have like a TV screen up here, and I can see that come the 14th and 15th, in the middle of the week, there won't be a rapture, and the next 3 days are going to be darkness for people, and they're going to start to lose hope that the rapture isn't happening. And then once they see the rapture happening on TV and they hear about everybody disappearing, and they're still there, because you really literally can't be floating up to the sky as an image. Once they see that, then then they lose even more hope. And the goal of the elite is, well, it really is, it is to murder us, you know, and it's also because it's the population depopulation, you know, depopulation. Hold on, let me just tell you what depopulation means. Okay, it means denuclearize. All right. Some people don't know. Some people catching on. Other people don't know. It's going to be great. We would like to denuclearize the population. All right. I'm expecting many gifts and rewards for interpreting Trump's script and Steve's. But the biggest reward I'm looking for is that, number one, I'm going to make sure every pothole in the world is fixed. All the streets are going to be like pure gold, okay? No more of this asphalt. Sick of it. And on top of that, I'm going to, the greatest reward is that Trump and Steve's soul will be like mine. And that's the best part. That's the greatest reward, is that everybody's soul. Look, man, look, think about what heaven is. Heaven to me, like, I don't like being around a lot of people. I don't like being in groups. I don't like talking about just things that are worldly things. But man, I would not mind being around 7 billion people who all they want to talk about is God. And not some fake God. The one and only true God. And that's all they want to talk about, and that's the questions that they have. And hell yeah, man, that's heaven to me, where you actually talk about what you want to talk about, and you don't small talk nonsense. That's heaven to me, on earth, which is going to happen. That's the way it's going to happen. I don't even know why people are fighting it. I mean, the only thing you're fighting is doubt. You know, I mean, you're not, no, I'm sorry, you're fighting with doubt, because you're fighting reality, the truth. But by doubting it, well, you're fighting with doubt. So that's why I've never really wanted to talk to people, and I always hated a group setting of anything, because we're not talking about what I want to talk about. And I know when I start to talk about it, people's heads turn like, Jesus, yeah, he exists. Like, man, only if you knew. Jesus, it's not boring the way people portray it to be. And on top of that, Jesus is a pretty damn cool guy. Not like Steve, I mean, to an extent, yeah, but not the way it's like, not at this moment. But Steve, listen, seriously, this is the reason why God purposed for you to have the most knowledge about the Bible, more than anybody in the world ever, okay, ever, at this point in time. But he needed you to have a wicked heart, to devise plans against everybody, to use the word of God against everybody. Its purpose, that fueled your desire to know so much about it, and then make up this craft to use that against us too. All purpose, because that's what gets you fired up to know more information about the Bible than anybody in the world. I'll give it to you. You understand dark sentences. So do I. You understand the timeline. So do I. I just have a 3.5 day plus 7 plus 10 plus 14. I have a further vision than yours. My vision isn't distorted. It's actual. It's the true vision after your vision. That's all. So, but it's purpose for you to know all that about the Bible, because when your heart does change after 7 times passes over, and I'm there also to help spread this word about the one and only true God throughout the entire world, well, can you imagine how much you can actually help everybody in the world, Steve, with your knowledge of the Bible? And then when your heart turns and your soul becomes like a true godly soul, that's why God did that, so you can change in the end.